These guys have never written a business plan. They're learning financing and business conundrums in the rough. That was the aha moment. I could actually step in and be a partner instead of a vendor.
Hello, everyone. Today, my podcast guest is Joe from Jag Digital Services. Joe, thank you for joining. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
Thanks so much. I just wanted to know when I expect the payment. And I'm glad to be here. I'm Joe with Jag Digital Services. We started about, I think, February 2018. Uh, we decided to do what I had to do in corporate America for a living, and that's, marketing and developing companies. We decided to base ourselves here in Dallas, Texas, and we service all the United States. We have a pretty good team of about 35 total real team members, and then there's an extension of team members from there. Um, we try to keep everything stateside, but there's many times we will go over the pond and utilize resources out there. But most of the time, it's here, especially with the development and ideas of new creations that folks have had a vision of starting this thing, right? But that's who we are. Glad to be here. Thank you for the invite. Was glad to run into your email and proceed further. Thanks so much for having us.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate the introduction. So, the first thing that I wanted to touch on with you was the origin and purpose of Jag. So, what inspired you to start Jag Digital Services coming from the corporate world? And what's the aha moment you saw for small businesses in your community that could benefit from your services?
The reason for starting it was, I had been working salary and for somebody most of my life. And without any of the new nomenclature, the system's broke, the old system doesn't work. For me, it worked, and a lot of people that have money and credit are those people that are 20, 30 years out of job, right? But we decided to go on our own and create. We came out of there high five and Jag Digital Services, but try to say services and spell it to anybody in America. They don't know how to abbreviate services. Uh, so it was not like a big win, it's kind of like crazy. So people in UK and Australia service centers know how to abbreviate services, but in America we don't. It's kind of funny. So we took off with it, and the whole idea was to build websites and do advertising, paid advertising. And then digital strategy. Nobody really gets digital strategy. Because of my experience in corporate America, I could lend a really good helping hand. Like many times, people didn't have a business plan, or they didn't know that this much in marketing gave me this much in generation of business. So like a commercial electrician that does 7.5 million a year that we take care of, he didn't know what that equated to. I need another guy in another truck. I
Hmm.
walked his warehouse. I've met his guys in his trucks. I know that he doesn't keep inventory in his warehouse. It's crazy, right? $7 million a year guy. I know he loves buying Toyota trucks more than any other kind of trucks for his guys. But he also has all that conundrum of office staff. He didn't know, should I make this girl who's been with me forever the manager? And according to profile analysis, she's not the one. She'll run everybody off. Those kind
Hmm.
of things people don't know, especially if they were like, an immigrant or a migrant, right? Dad came from wherever and was a bricklayer, and now it's a $15 million a year. They do commercial siding for all these big buildings in Dallas, right? This is a different client, and he never laid a brick in his life, but his dad was what started it. But these guys have never written a business plan. They're learning financing and business conundrums, in the rough. That was the aha moment for me with Jag Digital is I could actually step in and be a partner instead of a vendor. So we became boutique because we weren't going to be the cheapest in town. Now, that has its own problems.
Yep.
And you got to have volume in turn. So that's very costly and exhaustive, right? And then to be the highest price in town, who do you think you are? We're not going to charge you more than you can afford. So we became a medium price boutique, but then we try to make sure to explain the value of the services you get with us. The reason why I did create Jag Digital, one of the big underlining factors was we make sure that you maintain ownership rights of your website. So if something happens to us, or you're selling the business, or we even talk to people, what's your exit strategy? How many people let Square or Wix or Shopify do that, right? You quit paying and all that content stays with them, just like Kajabi, right? So what we want is we actually have an entire warehouse of archived websites of people that either sold or went out of business or retired or have passed away, right? But that stuff stays in a vault, right? So if anybody ever needs it,
Hmm.
it's there. If I pass away on an airplane, if my team can't keep you going, because we host about, I want to say 61 e-commerce websites in a local platform for the US. We do a lot of big custom work too and mobile apps. We do a lot of cool stuff, big systems, private
Hmm.
systems. So, but the thing is, it's like we wanted to make sure that medium to little guy understands, hey, you quit paying, you lose all your content if you didn't were smart enough to go download it, right? All those
Yep,
pictures, all
yep.
your information, your slogan, your slant on how and why people should choose you. So that really resonated a big value with the clients we have. We've had people on the books from 5 years or better and went from one business to two or three businesses attached with us. And we like to think it was because of a good partnership, not just a vendor, right? And that's fun.
No, that's awesome. I mean, listen, thank you for sharing all this. It's funny how you mentioned that, the father was laying the brick and the son came in and then started taking care of the business. But these guys had never written a business plan, to your point, but they had the revenue, they had the income. So um, I think positioning it as a partner instead of a vendor, brilliant. And I'm sure you since then you've been able to do this for many other companies, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I did
That's
in
awesome.
corporate America. Our clients were Fortune 100. So I had to go to the top guy and tell him what was wrong with his organization. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the,
yeah.
and the general question with, I mean, some of the biggest names you could name back, especially in the 90s, was, do you have all the revenue, right? Do you have, all the quality reviews, right? Are your customers
Mhm.
happy with you? And then are your employees happy, right? So if you have all three, the general answer would be, yeah, everything's pretty good. That means they had no clue. The guys that were into their corporate America business role as a CEO would be like, well, this is doing that, and we're working on figuring out the other two, right?
Makes
So
sense.
if you got all the sales, all the revenue, and everything's perfect, man, you're either lost, you're not sure, or you're probably lying. So right, and we came in by the stockholders with the reinsurer because Aon is a risk management company with the
Hmm.
leverage of, yeah, you're going to have to be honest with us because we hold all the money for the company anyway. So it was a really cool position. I'm able to take that conundrum, if you will, of experience and lend it to a guy that sometimes doesn't know just because he doesn't know, but he's doing one thing right. He's doing some sort of business that's making really good money,
Yep.
and he doesn't know how to go to the next level. And
Yeah.
that's our favorite client. I'd rather do that than someone that's never done this before and don't know where they're going to get their product from, or they're using an ironing board and an iron to put on stickies on a shirt, and they're going to make $1 million. I don't really want that guy. I
Yeah,
love him to
yeah.
death.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I
And I
can't
mean, listen,
I can't help him.
I'm sure it's loud and clear for our listeners. But I mean, let me ask you something. Something that's so basic, but so many people underestimate. So, for example, what's your approach to making websites and marketing easy for these non-tech business owners?
Well, there's technical acumen that you need to know. So, like we used to say in corporate America, you have to be knowledgeable to be technically accurate. If you're not knowledgeable, you cannot be technically accurate. So you apply that filter on the end client, right? The B2B.
Hmm.
And then you try to make an assertion of a built relationship, how much they know and what they don't know, right? And then you and I could probably talk tech and shop, but you can't do that with them. So we have to really be able to talk in layman's term with this individual, but then turn around and give them the performance of a speedy, healthy website, great CTAs, the messaging in a 5 point stance, is the names relative to synonymous searches so that people could even find their stuff, right? How do I take a guy like we did recently? He's a barbershop supply company, nationally
Hmm.
ranked, and he dropped to 15, 20,000 a month. Our first month revamping his entire platform plus his ads and his strategy, he went back to 37. This month he's clicking 55,000. And we're going to take a few months to regain some of that ranking nationally that he's lost
Hmm.
because he changed platforms and people too much, right? So he finally got to somebody he could trust. He treated me as an offset, wouldn't listen because he was wounded from the prior experience. But because of
Hmm.
the referral, you got to trust Joe. And when he got to that point, it took off. Now he's like, "Can I increase my budgets? What else can we do? What else can we do?"
Yeah.
So the whole thing is, it's like you got to get to the point where you understand the mechanics of marketing and Google and Meta, or the presence of a website, just some basic blocking and tackling. If you don't, AI can build it for you, but it doesn't necessarily qualify it for you. So that's the position. We're going to go take your best football and throw it as far as it can go, and that's
I
what we're
love it.
trying to help them do, right? It's kind of like we talk about it in different analogies, right? If you if you look at kind of anything, an automobile, right? If we charge the car, but what are the features? I try to explain it to people because some people don't even have an idea. You need the domain, and the domain needs to match the business as close as possible, and it doesn't need to be 15 million letters long. no, no
Yep.
numbers, no hyphens, no symbols. What? I want to do this. No, you need to find the real one as close as possible. So I always explain to people the domain name's like the registration of a car. Regardless of how much you drive it, it's got to be registered. So there you
I
go.
like it.
And then the hosting is where the car parks. It's got to sit somewhere. So that's the hosting. It's got to sit somewhere on top of the domain for it to operate and meet some standards, right? Because you obviously don't want to get spammed to death, which we find happens a lot with the AI built stuff. So there's a way around that. But the third thing is, well, then the website is actually the automobile. And you can go as plain vanilla or as fancy as you want, depending on what you're trying to reach as far as an audience. And that's where the ingress and egress of a guest or a visitor is so important about that middle part called the experience. Can they get to it quick? Can they go fast? Because they're
Hmm.
probably driving. Unfortunately, that's the truth. We're-
Yep, yep,
I
yep.
was on Amazon the other day with autopilot. You know,
Gotta
well,
love
right? I
autopilot.
love it. I love autopilot, and I can tell you which manufacturers probably have the best ones because last three cars I really tested it hard. But the thing is, we try to give them some relative information to understand, right?
Gotcha.
And we'll talk in circles that mean something to them. And see, that's the corporate background experience. Sometimes I'd have a
Yep.
room of 20 people, former school teacher, ex-Marine, lawyer, and they're in there in corporate America in training, and I was at the head of the class. I had to be able to reach them where they were and get them to an adult behavior modification level for a Fortune 100 to move the needle, right? That was our
Yeah.
skill set. So when I have that, when I bring that to the table without having to bring the badge and all, I'm just talking to people, and man, they love it. When we hear, I can't believe my idea actually came to life, or this is better than what I ever thought it could be. Yeah, that's the wins, right?
That's awesome.
And their customer for lives, right? Even if they close up shop, didn't make it, there wasn't enough funding, and unfortunately, people want to spend gobs of money on the wrong thing, and then they come to you with marketing, and I've got $500. What can you do? I got $1,000. I'm
Yeah.
I can come have lunch with you. you know, to get your business off
Yes.
the ground, you got to give it some juice, man. I mean, you got to give it some juice. So a lot of people fail to notice that. They think I can go open a Shopify or Wix and I'm just going to get business because it's them. No, there's a ton of them. It's
Of
like football
course.
players, Carl. There's all these top talent all across the United States and even globally, from these colleges, now even high schools. But there's only 25 spots on my bench. So who makes it and get the big contract, right? And then some of them blow out a knee and it's over, right?
Unfortunately, that's the sad truth. But
Yeah.
yes.
So same thing in business. Who's going to invest the time, money, and energy and the effort along with the right systems and the right alignment that you might have that fortunate break? Or there's a lot of steady Eddie people in the middle there that make really great living without killing themselves if they would learn how. And that's what we try to help them do. The guy that's a newbie that thinks he's going to make $1 million and be famous and not do anything for it, I can't help. That guy right
Yeah.
now
I
is
mean,
in
listen.
a different state. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest misconception out there. There's no get rich quick scheme. It doesn't happen. I think we need to understand that people in general need to understand that you have to invest and you need to have a plan, a strategy. And and to your point, like this is where you guys would come in, just to guide people who don't know how to go from point A to point B, where they're trying what
Yeah.
they're based on what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and we can do it. But so one of my first three questions is we'll kind of talk about the lay of the land. What did you plan to do? If they're older, did you have an exit strategy? What do you mean? Well, are you going to do this till you
Hmm.
die, or you know,
Yeah.
right? How involved do you want to be in? But usually, my third question: did you have a budget in mind?
Yeah.
And they're not used to hearing that, and so that tells me a lot about their investment mentality in themselves and this vision or idea they had. So then I help them solidify this thought process in their own mind. Man, a budget in mind, and so now they're starting to go, well, maybe I could, maybe I should, and
Yeah.
those are the people we'll go the farthest with, right? The
No.
other one's like, well,
Touche.
how much is it going to cost? Hey, I'm checking my calendar and I can maybe work you in next month. That's how I do it.
Right?
I don't got
Yeah. I
time,
mean,
man.
but so speaking of this, and exactly this point, of people of budgeting. So obviously, right now, there's a huge buzz about AI and automation. So do
Yeah.
you feel that like, any of your AI tools or automation is helping you lower that cost
Oh yeah.
for customers?
Yeah. I mean, from so like 2018 to 2019, we changed our hosting platform to actually keep pricing the same. Man, that was a big win.
Hmm.
People were like, "Wow, he didn't even go up." And everybody, GoDaddy, everybody went up. So we were like, and we're providing SSL technical updates 24/7, US, Spanish, English support, right? Uh, doing all the things. Daily backups, 99.9999% up, right? So everybody's like, wow, that's amazing. So, and that went over good. And then 2020 hit, nobody paid a dime, and we kept everybody alive all year until it started to break loose at the end of that year. And we got like a new batch of people to replace the people that fell off, right?
Hmm.
So, and it was cool because we survived it. Well, as we progressed even further and AI is coming in, instead of wiping people out, we give them kind of like a package option. Did you want team member or did you want AI experience? Oh, what does that mean?
Mm,
There's a greater cost difference, but it may not be as smoothed out and professional as this to the T because AI is going to build it and it'll work,
yeah.
it'll function, but we might have to curate it for you a little bit because it's no longer an infant AI, it's a teenager. Wait till it becomes an adult and then it realizes we're the problem now. Right?
Yeah.
Then we're out.
So,
That's
so
what we do is we offer a differentiation in packaging because of what's available. You want to save
makes
money, you
sense.
got low budget, hey, we got a way and here's what it's going to be like.
No, makes total sense. So, I mean, to that point, do you have like, because you mentioned that you work with a lot of like, you're more of a boutique firm. You work with a lot of small businesses. So, do you feel like the so how do you balance the automation with the personal care that small businesses appreciate? Because even though like, they might be opting in for the AI package, but they might still want that personal care from you. So,
Yeah.
how do you handle that?
Yeah, we just moderate it, and we have adjustable pricing. We used to have a pricing schedule, and man, we used to live by it. If you're this, it's that, and this. And
Hmm.
now it's really flexit fluidable, fluid flexible. Because what we want to do is just make sure that we're reaching them and not pushing them, but maybe pushing them. If they say, "Hey, I'm a small business, and my pockets are strapped a little bit. I'd like to take advantage of the AI, but I want to get some of that custom." We're going to go ahead and give it to them. We're going to help them out a little bit if
Okay.
we see that they're into it just as much as we are, right? If they're not and they're just like hands off, just do it for me and I'll go make me $1 million, they typically are not going to be a partner for us because
Yeah.
they're under that ether that they're going to be driving a Lambo, you know,
Yeah.
and like my $15 million a year guy, the bricklayer, he's got two Lambos and he has a car seat in one of them. I'm like, you're crazy, man, but okay. Right?
That's
Yes,
hilarious. That's
rolling,
hilarious.
right?
Yep, yep.
So,
These the guys in the Lambos, man.
there's a lot of people that, they the mentality today, you know how it goes. I want everything for pretty much nothing, or at least as possible. Those are the people we're not going to be able to help as much. Maybe a full 100% AI operation will, but it's going to have its pitfalls because of no curation. You do
Of
got to
course.
curate it because it's out there sweeping and copying all kinds of stuff. So we're going to make sure that pictures are copyrighted, content is copyrighted, and then if you go to trademark or register trademark, then we're going to abide by what you paid legally to have. But we can't promise that it won't get swept. So
Of
our recommendation is, okay, I know you want to do AI in the cheaper package, but if you don't get to market
course.
fast and first, someone will copy it within the first 90 days, right? So
That's normally how it goes. That's
yeah, so just be
normally how
ready.
it goes.
Go conquer and get your share, man. So, and they're like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, usually to be in first class, in order to be on the plane and arrive first in first class, it costs, and they go, more money. Yep.
I mean, listen.
Yeah.
So
That's why they
you,
offer financing. Yeah. Because sometimes to make it easy on the pocketbook, well, let's get you a little line of financing here and let's get you going.
yeah, no, makes sense. I mean, listen. You kind of touched on this a little bit, but so how has Jag grown since launch, and what challenges or wins surprised you along the way?
Yeah, we were growing exponentially, double digits, 2018, 2019, 2020, until the Corona thing
COVID.
hit, right? The
Hmm.
virus year, right? And so then we flatlined. We didn't like lose anything until the end of the year. We really saw a dropout of a portion because lives were totally changed. And then that last quarter, we actually picked back up that gap. So 2021, we saw a dramatic increase. We were like at 43%,
Oh.
running some really great numbers. 2023 leveled off a little bit. We were actually off in the first quarter, but came back the second and third. 2024 was an elevated growth, but it was more plateauish growth. It wasn't no spikes and valleys. It was more just, holding. 2025 started out a little soft, because the election, all that stuff, but it's really cranking now again. And so um, we've been fortunate to say that we've had positive gains, even including COVID and the election year. 2023 economy was tough though. I mean, because I had customers going, "Hey, man, my business has fallen off. What do I do?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but people are trying to buy gas and groceries. They're not going to pay for a suntan membership or a gym membership as much as they used to, right? Netflix saw a decline, so why can't you? I mean, are you prepared
Yep.
for it, right? What are you doing to provide value to maintain the people you got on the books? You better go save the people you got instead of worrying about the people that are gone because you just can't afford it right now, right? So we did the same thing. We just did a turn and burn. We love everybody, but we can only help people as much as they can help themselves. And if that's the case, and then we can go further. And we saw, exponential growth to flat line to, graded growth, but overall there's been an increase in the last, wow, what's that, 7 years almost now? Yeah.
Awesome. No, good stuff. I mean, listen, to wrap things up here, what's next for you? Do you plan on providing additional services, entering new markets? I know you mentioned that you are mostly servicing companies in the US, or like we touched a little bit about AI, cheaper options for potential customers who would like to spend less. So tell me more. Like, what's the future for Jag for the
Yeah.
next 5 to 10 years?
So you definitely touched on it. So the AI department will definitely increase in Q3. It'll become kind of its own baby within our umbrella of services, right? Because we just want more and more of those folks that are, born and bred with AI that understand it
Hmm.
better, the osmosis of it, to be the servicers and provider of it, right? So we'll have its own division. Because I have like, uh, Google Ads team, I have SEO team with their own captains and all the underlings, and so we have lead designers and developers with teams underneath them. So we want to do the same thing with AI, kind of make it its own little baby, right? Because the demand's there. And I think what happens a lot is we get people that'll call us and want our help, but they already spent money and they're still stuck because the last
Yep.
AI guy built them something, but it doesn't make the cut, right? So that's a hard thing because then they're out of money and wanting us to
Yep.
repair
Yep.
the problem. So the thing is, we still looking for that person that's a medium to small size business. Startups are just going to be difficult, and most startups are going to rely on AI. But so we want to make sure not to exclude them, but say, hey, we got a department for that, but use the same filtration process of the relationship, right? Does it fit? Because then we'll just pass or let someone else do it, and they'll probably call us back later, right? But we were never built to service everybody. We were never built to do the turn like, you know, GoDaddy or Wix or Square alike. I mean, it's all about the volume. They're signing as many people as dropping off. People don't know, but we usually sign somebody on and they're on with us. I mean, we do birthdays, Christmases. I mean, I'm doing cards and stuff, and people look for that, and I usually
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
responses back. So that's really how I'm doing it. So I found a niche, if you will, a niche that I think works for us, but it's not for everybody. I mean, people have different plans. I probably could have went and got venture capital funding and became a big giant mega player, but I really didn't see the need for that. There was plenty of money, plenty of revenue, and relationships that sustained us even during COVID and the election season. And last year's economy was atrocious. It really hurt some people in business, right? Kind of like the
Of
Texas
course.
floods. We've got a couple of businesses down that way that got wiped out. It's like, ooh.
Yeah.
So, we're going to be here for them until they can get their
Of
feet back
course.
together and that kind of thing. So, it's just really important to know that, hey, what is the future about? Yes, we want to incorporate AI, but we also want to build a model that is self-sustainable, and it allows me an eventual exit. I've got some guys that would love to be the successor, ready to take it over, have demonstrated they can. We've got some quality people. I mean, I've got like national Google account reps. I got a Gary Vaynerchuk media guy. I mean, we have some people that are pretty bad A. I've got some Microsoft people, in the developer core. So, I mean, we've got some real corporate people, been with big companies that want to do this thing. And I don't foresee if Jag, they might change the name. It's okay with me. I don't care. But, I don't foresee of our kind of service, boutique service, going away. It seems to be what people like to lean on, right? Unfortunately, there's so many out there with an ingress that makes it easy. Like go get a Shopify account, BigCommerce, and we're licensed with all of them. $30 a month. Okay, but do you know what your cut's
Mhm.
going to be? What do you mean? Well, on every dollar, you're going to pay them 40, 50, 60 cents on a dollar, and that's what you're going to make net. But if you did it on your own, like WooCommerce or WordPress, or if we did a Laravel platform, you could save gobs of money, and now you're making 60, 70 cents on the dollar. And if volume means anything to you, then that's going to make a big difference on your business, right? So we look at it backed into a business plan, right? Are you a big ticket item? Are you a small ticket item? So volume versus, finding that major purchaser. But then for financing and everything else to work, because we are connected to some big financial institutions that are big referrals to us. We do a lot of repeat referral business. And they trust us, underwriting trusts us. If our name's on it, they're like, it's approved, right?
Mhm.
So the thing is, when we get them connected to these financial institutions, what they're looking for is the cash flow. But because we did all this other stuff with them, they have it, and then they've got avenues to do more, become more. And so they really appreciate the relationship. But I hope that we can kind of continue that. If AI just takes it all over, okay, but then I'll probably be out of the picture by then, hopefully.
Yeah.
Golfing
Yeah, I
somewhere.
will be an adult by then. Yeah, I
Yeah,
will be an adult.
golfing with AI somewhere. Right?
I mean, listen, Joe, just like to recap here, you mentioned your brick and mortar guy with the limbo. But what other industries would you, for our listeners here, what other industries would you say typically reach out to you and that you work with?
Healthcare. We have hospice, med care, palliative care, home care. So, that part of the medical, not product sales, but services.
Gotcha.
We seem to lean a little bit more on services business with that custom stuff, or not AI stuff. More of the AI stuff is that online store because it's just so easy to set it up. But uh,
Understood.
the cool tricks of the strategy is where we come in. That now they've made revenue and they can actually afford to pay some money for someone to help them along the way, right? Um, but the thing is, it's like we're just not real sure. The market is fickle. We do find some oddball customers that come across with different visions of grandeur, and we're not sure where they're getting that education. Probably online, probably from the gurus. Too much, death scroll, right? And they're getting inundated with a vision of what's not reality. Um, it's kind of like I was sharing with a young man today. He does, we got gaming companies, we have insurance lead companies, tech companies that supply hundreds of thousands of leads to different various insurance industries. We have some big mega systems that are, like Kubernetes set up totally different than just an e-commerce store. We're talking about big data insurance mining companies. So we do a little bit of everything because of the background and maybe the people reach that I have. But it's like a young man I was talking to today. He sells, gaming stuff that's Pokemon, Warhammer kind of related. Right?
Hmm.
He's huge. Can't believe how big it is. I mean, they sell kits for like, $499, like starting.
That's insane, huh?
Yeah. And people are buying them by droves. They're sold out. So it's pretty interesting. But we service quite a few. I mean, restaurants. Man, there's a lot. It kind of we
Yeah.
touch almost everything. Meal prep people. We're
Wow.
still doing quite a few different varieties of online, whether it's a specific product or a service. We have some people that it's all about the booking. So we've got like loss mitigation guys, private adjusters, water mitigation companies. We do the typical
So, I
roof.
mean, yeah.
roof
So,
we do
uh,
the roof
so in
guy.
summary, you do a little bit of everything,
Yeah,
What you are is a good partner for online solutions.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All
Man,
right. I
love
love it.
that. That's a
I
good
love
quote. I'm gonna put that on my next shirt.
it.
Our
Well,
last shirt
listen, Joe.
says "Get your digital freak on," and the word "on" is an on button, right? So I'm gonna use what you just said.
That's amazing. Well, listen, Joe, it was a true pleasure. Good meeting you, good talking to you. And listen, I'm looking forward to see what JAG Digital Services accomplishes in the next few years.
Yeah, man, it'd be great. Maybe you come take it and run it. Let me know.
Will do. It was a true pleasure. Have a
Okay,
good one.
thank you.